So let me show you how sneaky Dodge is, right? Dodge is currently being sued by 2021 Dodge Hellcat Durango owners for $5 million, alleging false and deceptive advertising and marketing, right? And the reason they're doing that, I don't know if you remember, but in 2021, when Dodge dropped the Durango Hellcat, they stated that they're only going to be producing 3,000 units, right? 3,000 units, and then you'll never see this 7-seater, 3-row, 700 horsepower muscle car SUV ever again, right? Well, guess what they brought back in 2023 for a last year run? The Durango Hellcat. They didn't bring it back in 2022. A lot of people don't know that, but if you go to the Dodge website, all you're going to see is SRT 392, no Hellcat Durango. So Dodge skipped a year and then brought it back in 2023 for a last run with no limited production, quota or whatever the case may be, right? 2021 Hellcat Durango owners are pissed off because they're saying that their 21 value is going down, because Dodge bought it back in 2023 with no constraints on the production limit, right? No constraints on the production amount, right? Some of these people in 2021 paid over $130,000, $140,000 for their Hellcat Durango because they thought that they would never see this car ever again. And Dodge just brought it back again for a last call run in 2023. And there's no 3,000 unit limit. So they're suing Dodge for $5 million because they're saying that Dodge falsely advertised that the Hellcat Durango was only going to be a 1-year limited run. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's get into it, man. And it's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video, man. So you can tell I'm in a car that makes us a car blog. You already know what's going down when I come around. Let's get into it, man. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you are in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. Dodge Durango Hellcat owners are suing Dodge for bringing 1 year, quote unquote, 1 year model back for 2023. Now, if you're familiar, the Dodge Durango Hellcat was originally introduced as a 1 year only special model in 2021, right? They brought the Hellcat Durango in 21. They modeled it as or advertised it as a 7-seater, 3-row SUV, 700 plus horsepower, capable of 180 plus miles per hour, right? Making it literally the fastest, SUV ever produced, faster than the G-Wagon, faster than your Range Rover SVR's fast, right? And they were only going to release 3,000 units, right? The automaker originally claimed that the truck will be sold in 2021 after a production run of roughly 3,000 units. So only 3,000 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcats was ever produced. And they marketed it as a 1 year only special, as in once we drop this Hellcat Durango in 21, we're never dropping this Hellcat Durango ever again. So imagine you're in the market for a Hellcat Durango. You want a Hellcat Durango, not only because it's fast, not only because it's a 7-seater, 3-row SUV, but because it's literally a collector's item at that point. I mean, imagine 10 years from now, you own a 700 horsepower, 180 mile per hour, 7-seater, 3-row SUV. Like, you could get your money times 2 or 3 by selling it, right? So a lot of people are buying those cars, or were buying those cars, as more than just an SUV, but they wanted a collector's item because they were one of 1,000 or one of 3,000 rather, right? Well, what Dodge did that was sneaky, and I didn't even realize it, was they didn't bring the Durango Hellcat back in 2022. You can go to the Dodge website and scroll all the way down to the bottom. All you'll see is a 2022 Dodge Durango SRT, right? 392. They didn't bring the Hellcat back in 22. They brought the Hellcat Durango back in 2023. Now, what's messed up about that is some of the people in 21 alleged to have paid over $130,000, $140,000 for these Durango Hellcats in 2021, right? Because they thought it was going to be a limited run. It's one of those things like, you know what? I'll pay $130,000+ for a Durango Hellcat because I know that I'm driving a piece of history that will never be seen again. Well, that's not true, because now Dodge is bringing the exact same car back, exact same engine, with more color options, more options to option it out in 2023, and there is no 3,000 unit limit. Essentially, they're going to be producing Durango Hellcats like they're producing Charger Hellcats or Challenger Hellcats in 2023. Now imagine if you paid $140 or $130 for your Durango Hellcat in 21, right? Because you thought it was going to be a collector's item. And then Dodge drops the exact same car a year and a half later, and it's $10,000 cheaper than what you paid. You paid top dollar because you were competing with 3,000 other individuals trying to get that car. So you paid top dollar for that. But now Dodge doubles down and says, hey, listen, we were just kidding. We're actually going to drop that same car in 2023. And now there are no production limits on it. Like, we could produce 3,000 or 30,000. Doesn't matter. And on top of that, more than likely, you're going to pay significantly less than $130,000, $140,000 for a Durango Hellcat. You would be pissed off too, wouldn't you? Well, not only are they pissed off, but they're filing a class action lawsuit alleging false and deceptive advertising and marketing against Dodge. And they're alleging over $5 million in damages. Now, I'm assuming that all of these 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat owners got together and basically said, you know, this is bullshit. This is messed up how Dodge allegedly stated that this would be the only year that this car would ever be in existence, and that this would be the only year that we would have an opportunity to get a 7-seater, 3-row, 700 horsepower muscle SUV. But now you're bringing that exact same car back 2 years later, and it's cheaper. Like, the reason that Durango was going for $130,000 and $140,000 back in 21 was because there was only 3,000 of them made. So you're putting a limit on the amount. You know, it's supply and demand. It's basic supply and demand. If there's no supply, the demand goes up. You know, simple economics there. And these Durango owners have banded together and put their money together and basically said they're suing for $5 million. Because when you think about it, they've got a good point. Their value is going to, it's not necessarily going to plummet, but it's not going to be what it once was. Like, imagine owning a Dodge Charger red eye jailbreak, and they only made 3,000 of them ever. Like, 1 year, 3,000 of them. And then they never made that car again. That car is going to be worth $200,000+, $200,000-$300,000, because you're not only owning the most powerful sedan ever produced, the most powerful American sedan ever produced, but you're literally owning a piece of history, because that car is never going to exist ever again. And the V8 is dead after this year. And you're willing to pay, you know, $130,000, $150,000, $160,000 for a Charger, because you know that in 10 years time, that car is going to be worth 2-3 times that value. But now that Dodge has brought the 23 Durango Hellcat back, your 21 Hellcat Durango, that value isn't going to be worth as much as you thought it was. And looking back on it, you spent $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 on it, you know, because you thought it was going to be a collector's item, when in actuality, it's really not. Because in 23, Dodge is going to flood the market with Durango Hellcats. They haven't put a cap or a limit on how many have been produced or will be produced. So these guys want $5 million in damages. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this literally came from one of the Dodge execs in 2021. The 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat is the only single model year run, ensuring it would be very special, sought after performance SUV for years to come. That came from a Dodge exec in 2021. They literally said that. Single model year run. And then they brought it back in 2023. So these owners are pissed off and they want some money for that. You know what I'm saying? Once in a lifetime exclusive opportunity for a large vehicle, a large SUV vehicle with this kind of power. People went crazy for it. Let's see here. The lawsuit claims Dodge actions constitute a classic bait and switch scheme. To support that assertion, it cites customer protection laws in several states, including New York, Texas, Virginia, where the plaintiffs live. The full list of states currently represented includes California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Virginia, Texas, and Florida. Class action lawsuit. So they're going at FCA. They're literally going at FCA. A Facebook group was created to organize the efforts of owners, has over 416 members. The exact number of owners represented by the case are unclear, but apparently they were able to band together, and now they're putting together a $5 million lawsuit against Dodge. Now, let's be real here. I kind of see where they're coming from. Just because if Dodge marketed this as a 1-year model run, and I do remember them saying that, and then they come with it, you know, a year later or a year and a half, 2 years later, that is a slap in the face because you paid over MSRP. And you were fine with paying over MSRP because you knew that you were getting a once in a lifetime, 1 year only, one of 3,000 Durango Hellcat. So you were willing to do it. Any other time, any other time, you would not pay over MSRP for a Durango Hellcat. I mean, I understand it's a Hellcat, but it's a Durango, it's a Dodge, it's a Chrysler. You're paying $115,000, $120,000, $130,000 for a Dodge SUV. That's AMG territory. That's, you know, Range Rover SVR territory. That's hell, even Lamborghini. Oh my God, what's the SUV? The Lamborghini SUV. You guys know what I'm talking about. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that's that territory. 6 figures plus for a SUV. And now you're paying that essentially for nothing because your Durango Hellcat is about to be one of like 40,000 instead of 30,000 or 3,000. You thought it was going to be one of 3,000, but it's actually one of like 30,000 because Dodge is going to produce the hell out of these this year while they can and make as much money as they can. So I see where they're coming from. I definitely see where they're coming from because they do feel like they were tricked, even lied to, deceived into spending so much money over MSRP. And let's be real here. A lot of those people probably went and bought that SUV just because it was one of 3,000. Not even because they got a family of 7 that they want to get back and forth to the soccer games really quickly, but simply because they want to own a piece of history. They want to own a collector's item. And now Dodge is going to be flooding the market with Durango Hellcats in 2023. So I don't know where this lawsuit is going to go. To me, it sounds like they have some sort of, ground to stand on legally. I mean, if they can find out exactly when a Dodge exec or a Dodge CEO stated that this car will never, ever be coming back, if they can somehow or another pin that to the case, then they may have something. Otherwise, I mean, it's just kind of messed up. If this is true, and, there's some truth to this, and this can be proven in court, this is kind of messed up for 2021 Durango Hellcat owners that Dodge did this. And they do need to be compensated something. Not, the full value of the car, because at the end of the day, you paid for a car and you got a car. It's not like, you paid for a car and the shit's broken and it's not working after 2 years. You paid for a car and you got a car. A product was rendered at the end of, the transaction. So it's not like you didn't get anything, but the terms and kind of the grounds for which you purchased that car are a little murky. And that's where things get a little hazy there. And that's where these individuals have a case, honestly. Because imagine if you drop 130, 140 and 21 for a Hellcat Durango because you thought it was going to be a once in a lifetime type of car. And then I come around in 2023 and I buy a 2023 Hellcat Durango for 90,000 or 95,000. And we've got the exact same spec Durango Hellcat. But the difference is yours was quote unquote one of 3,000 and mine was just, I just ordered it or I saw it on the lot and I decided to pick it up. You'd be pissed off too. So, we'll see where this goes, but I did find that interesting. And that kind of makes you think like, so Dodge said that they would never produce a Hellcat Durango after 21. They also said that they're never going to be producing Hemis and Hellcats after 2024, which is driving the price of Scat Packs, Hellcats, RTs, Durangos, Chargers, Challengers, TRX, Jeeps. It's driving those cars through the roof. So imagine if this is all a part of Dodge's plan that, hey, listen, let's just get as much money as we can, and then we'll bring it back another year. Maybe they make some sort of special announcement. You know what, guys? You've sparked so much interest in these cars. We've sparked so much interest in owning these cars that, you know what, we're going to bring the Hellcat, the Hemi, V8, the SRT 392, the Scat Pack 392, the RT. We're going to bring that back for one more year. And then they end up milking that for one more year. It would work. People would still go out and buy the car like crazy, but it would just be messed up for all the people that went out and bought $130,000 Chargers because they thought that this is the last year that they were ever going to see these cars. So, if this is a marketing scheme, it worked and it's working. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully they are telling some truth here, but we never know. But As of right now, Dodge is being sued for $5 million by Durango Hellcat owners because they're upset at the games that, you know, Dodge is playing. But that's about it, guys. Tell me how you feel about it. Do you think that they have a right to sue? Or is it one of those things like, listen, you paid for a car and you got a car. Whatever the intentions behind the marketing are concerned, as far as Dodge is concerned, that has nothing to do with you. At the end of the day, you went to the dealership, you paid money for an automobile, and you got the exact automobile that you paid for. So as far as Dodge is concerned, they fulfilled their obligation to you, their contractual obligation, legal obligation to you. I don't know. As always, it's been your boy Knockout 360, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.